Welcome to the Let's Chew Podcast presented by Gulfood, the largest annual F&B sourcing event in the world. I'm your host, Dina Epifanova, bringing you compelling stories and insights to a wide range of topics in the food and drinks industry, from farming, behind the scenes, to the culinary world, and to foods we simply love to chew on. In this podcast series, we speak to people, brands, and businesses across the food and drinks spectrum to find out more about why they do what they do and how, in their own way, they're championing change and shifting the future of food and drink. Trust me, there's so much more, so listen to the Let's Chew podcast on our website, gulfood.com, and subscribe to our newsletter for the latest updates in food. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Let's Chew podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dina Epifanova. In today's episode, we're joined by Dina Epifanova, Head of Sustainability at IFFCO Group. Thank you so much for joining us, Dina. Hope you're feeling well today.
Hello, everyone. Very glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting.
Thank you. So welcome to the Let's Chew podcast. Just to get started, before we speak about all the great stuff that you do at IFFCO, I want to know more about you, why you do what you do, and what brought you here in the sustainability world. So if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at IFFCO, and what initially sparked your interest in working in sustainability.
Well, that's a nice question. It brings me back to the year 2011. I was always interested as an individual in impacts that we make by our lifestyle on the planet, on the people, how it all works and interconnected. But when someone approached me in 2011 with a question, would you be interested in a job in environmental area? I was very surprised. I didn't know that there is such a profession, and that you can make a career there. So I thought about it, and I found it very interesting, because that's an amazing area where you can work for business, but same time making a wider positive impact. So regarding my role at IFFCO, my core mission is to embed sustainability into core business agenda, meaning that I ideally would see us making every business decision in every daily routine by any function, any business unit, so that every person, every colleague would think, okay, I know how it works. This is like the usual way to do it. But what is the impact? What is the impact on communities, on our employees, on the planet, on nature? Okay, and then people wait, and find a more balanced decision. So this is basically the core mission, and then it's cascaded to many more smaller tasks.
Okay. And before we get into the IFFCO part, when did you switch over to more of the environmental work into the food and beverage industry?
Basically, I have been in food for 21 years. Okay. So I was always in food. Yeah. But earlier it was different other functions, but now it's food sustainability.
Okay, beautiful. So since joining IFFCO in 2021, what have been some of the most significant developments or which sustainability are you most proud of that you were able to accomplish so far?
So we have been on a journey for a couple of years by now, and there are many nice things that I think our colleagues should be proud of. But to name the major ones, I would say those three. First, last year, October 2023, we signed off our Climate Strategy 2030, and it's completely in line with Science Based Targets initiative. So this is public, and this is a major step. And now it's like the basis for anything we do in sustainability and beyond that. We also publicly committed that over the 2 years, we will be investing 77 million dirhams into sustainability agenda and sustainability-related programs. Okay. And the last one is Thrive Launch. It's the first Middle East plant-based meat alternative. It's 100% greenfield, based in UAE, and I think this is a great initiative that shows our commitment to provide sustainable food for our consumers.
Congratulations for that. You said is it the first report that came out for sustainable report
yes,
from IFFCO?
This I should also mention. Last year we issued our first public report. As you know, we are a privately held company,
yes,
and we don't have an obligation for that.
Yes.
But we want to be transparent. We want to disclose what we are doing and create a basis for the dialogue with wider stakeholders and customers and retailers and everyone else.
Yes, that's beautiful. And what would you say are the strategies or the sustainability strategies at IFFCO? And if you can just discuss mostly the challenges, opportunities, and priorities that align with the industry trends in the sustainability sector.
So in our strategy, we have three main pillars. Okay. One is around planet, of course, and here you can find all the energy-related projects, water-related projects, and many more. The second one is people, because we know that there is an impact on communities and employees, and we want to make it a positive impact. And the third one is basically product, because our product portfolio impacts both people and planet. So we want it to be healthier, we want it to be more sustainable. Regarding the challenges and opportunities, it depends on how you see it. For instance, I will name two. Yeah? One thing is that when you work for sustainability, you are accountable for your whole value chain. And someone would think, how can I be accountable for this? It's completely out of my control what is happening on the ground, at the plantation or at the farm. But still, you are building a value chain by choosing this or that supplier, and you are accountable because in food sector, the majority of emissions, the majority of impacts lies upstream in agriculture. So the focus should be really there with all the other things that you do in-house as well. So, and then it's an opportunity as well because, for instance, what we have done before finalizing the strategy, we have run through a materiality assessment methodology, meaning we have reached out almost 300 of different stakeholders, including internal, including external. Those were governments, NGOs, customers, retailers, everyone, to hear their voice, to hear what is material, what is important for them. And this also opens those opportunities for the dialogue. When we know what is their agenda deeper, then we know where we can join efforts and accelerate progress. This is one thing. Another thing, which is a challenge and an opportunity for any company in food sector, is that if you are committed in line with Science-Based Targets Initiative, meaning you strive to make your impact not higher than capping into 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming. Because there is a consensus that this is kind of a safe limit where humanity can operate in a normal manner. This means you have to dramatically drop down your impact. And no one in food industry knows today how to get to this 1.5 degrees. There are straightforward solutions, and we are doing those, but there is still a gap. And here where we work on innovative part. So innovations are there. Sometimes they don't exist, sometimes they exist. And the solution is to scout, to assess, to test, to scale, and work closely with your partnerships and other, stakeholders.
So what role do you believe responsible sourcing plays in ensuring sustainability throughout the food and beverage industry supply chain? And how does IFFCO approach this aspect?
Responsible sourcing is absolutely paramount. We do have 10 core sustainability programs within those pillars: people, planet, and product. And one of those is responsible sourcing. But in reality, we are saying it is across all of the rest 9, because it's an enabler to everything else. You have to understand your value chain. You have to engage your stakeholders so that you progress together. So what does it mean in practice? First, we started with traceability and transparency. We started to understand what is happening in our value chain. And for instance, when it goes to some vegetable oils, we have monitored with the help of satellite monitoring tools 40% of our supply by now. We know, and we have checked via satellite monitoring, every spot with the radius of 15 kilometers for these 40% of the supply. And we know now what is happening there. And we are committed to continue tracking and working on this wherever we see the risks. Then we work much closer with the suppliers and make a decision. So the current step is we are categorizing our suppliers. We want to understand who are as committed as us and who would be a strategic supplier as a consequence, who are on the way, maybe they need some awareness initiatives together with us and so on. So that, we gradually move to the pool of more sustainable supply. Yeah. And how does it translate into specific initiatives? So we have a commitment to move towards zero deforestation supply chain in our key commodities that we are processing. Second thing is an international standard, which is called NDPE. It also includes no deforestation. It includes no peat, which is also a practice that could be risky in terms of climate change and other issues, and no exploitation, which refers to human rights, so that they are respected across the whole value chain. So these are the main things, but also what we are doing, we are constantly working on increasing the share of certified palm oil, for example, in our supply. What does it mean, certified? It means there is a proof and a long list of demands that this crop is sustainably sourced. It includes many aspects, for example, fully conserving so-called high conservation value forests, fully not touched at all. Human rights aspects, as usual, of course, and also biodiversity aspects, meaning that we should move towards so-called good agricultural practices that ensure that the ecosystem is not disbalanced by the operations. So there are multiple actions to go in that direction, and this is what means certified vegetable oil, as an example.
My only question is in terms of the sourcing. What would you say it's very difficult to source sustainably from your suppliers?
I wouldn't say so. There is now a raising awareness, and the whole food sector is gradually understanding much more the impacts of food on everything. And of course, suppliers are in different phases. Some are more advanced, some are less advanced, and we have to understand who is who. And we have also to build roadmaps with those that are not yet there. We have to educate, we have to progress together.
Okay.
In case there is an interest to share commitments.
True. And now I just want to move on to more of the climate change that's going on right now. So drawing from your extensive experience, could you highlight some innovative climate-efficient solutions that have been implemented within IFFCO?
So there are multiple layers. Let's start with so-called Scope 1 and 2, our own operations and our electricity and energy consumption. Of course, we are rolling out a number of energy efficiency and renewable energy projects. There are basically more than 20 now in the pipeline across our business units and facilities that we are doing, and many have been completed during last fiscal year as well. But renewable energy and energy efficiency is innovative, but it's already becoming core, right? And we are also testing some more innovative ideas. For instance, for our facility in Ghana, we have prepared another option for energy, which gives us minimum 70% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, meaning like less and less, much less impact for the issue of climate change, which is basically processing the shells of palm kernels and nuts and using biomass as an energy source, and it's much more efficient than like usual fuels that you are using. And also you are this way tackling waste, food waste, right? Which is also an emitter unless you are processing it in the right way. As an example. Also, we are looking at the water angle, which also has a climate aspect in it, right? We are now clear on the water risk map of our facilities. We have looked at every water basin, and we have built our newly rolled out water policy in a way that it's very specific to specific geography. Also, of course, there is packaging and production waste angle, where we also we are also committed to circular economy concepts, and we work now more on increasing the share of recycled waste. We want to test recycled PET solutions. So there are multiple things that we are planning to do in this as well. Regarding Scope 3 upstream, this is basically what we have been discussing. No deforestation, no peat. These are the main hotspots in our specific product portfolio. And the third hotspot is methane emissions at mills. Again, this is our supplier. This is not our facility, but we want to work closer with them and to test together innovative solution to tackle these methane emissions. Basically, it's organic waste, which is generated at their facilities, which becomes another emitter. And we want to process it in a more sustainable way to drop the emissions both for them and ourselves.
Do you have any maybe success stories from where you implemented these innovative, sustainable solutions that you can share with us, or any case studies?
So the most recent ones that I named was this Ghana facility. It's fully ready. We have procured the equipment.
Yeah.
We have built the value chain, and we have scouted for a supplier of this waste, which is again also sustainably sourced. So we want that this biomass is sourced in a way that it tackles, social and environmental impacts in the right way again. Yeah. So this is the most recent one, but we are working on many more others that will come soon.
Yeah.
Another example could be our plant-based brand Thrive. Yeah. So it has several aspects. First, when we talk about people's health, in general, plant-based calories are healthier. And what is happening? We have too much meat in our diet. So if you talk to a nutritionist, they would say to an average person, statistically, like this is too much
eating
meat.
Too much meat.
Yeah, we are going back to plant-based. But there is a sustainability aspect as well, environmental aspect. So if you want the same number of calories that are coming from plant-based, in our example, for instance, it's faba bean, to grow crops for this faba bean-based meat alternative, you need much less land than you need to feed the cattle, than you need, when you go for the conventional usual meat. Yeah, this is one thing. Another thing, you need much less water. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And in general, if you look at the climate change aspect, greenhouse gas emissions for a Thrive brand are much less than for any meat alternative. So this is another example of what we are trying to pioneer in the region. This is quite new for people, but we really want to introduce these options so that people try and move towards this. If anyone is a meat lover, it's even enough to try at least once a month or once a week to switch, and you will not see a lot of difference, But then you will know that you are making that small step, and in sustainability, every step counts.
True, I agree. So if you can just tell us more about the balance, or how do you navigate between sustainability goals and your business profitability at IFFCO? Can you just tell us about the strategies that were effective to achieving this?
This is a very good question. And people sometimes think it's a choice. Either you do business or you do things sustainably. But this is not true. Sustainability is the balance between business agenda, like commercial agenda, let's say, environmental agenda, and people's social aspects, right? So this is covering all three, meaning, yes, it's maybe a bit more challenging. You have to think more, you have to assess different options, but you will always find a solution which is sitting, balancing. It doesn't mean that you have to choose this or that. Yeah. And even another angle, I truly believe that business agenda and sustainability agenda are absolutely the same agenda. The difference is that in business, the usual way of working in any part of the world is basically 1 year cycle, and people are motivated for the annual goals, which is a bit short term. Whereas sustainability impacts you see later, and the positive impact of your changes you also see not immediately. Later. This is long term and mid term, but this is ensuring your business mid-term and long-term, and this is ensuring growth in business for you. Because, as an example, you may now observe more often weather events, right? If you look at WWF statistics, they are saying during 15 years, more often weather events are coming twice more often, basically. Yeah. So, and you can observe it, right?
Yes.
If we remember us as children, there were not so many droughts, floods, and severe effects. So, and this is coming because of a human factor. Yeah? There is now 100% consensus that there is a human factor into it. And then you say, okay, what can I do? Then you count your impact as business or as a consumer. And then you say, okay, I'm doing what is under my control because nobody is going to solve it for you. So we all have to tackle this. It sounds big, but in reality, you look at your operations and then you just move towards more sustainable operations. And the other example for food industry, I can say yields. You can see they are dropping, and you are just not getting your stable supply at an affordable price that you don't want to put pressure on your consumers in terms of pricing. Yeah. You want a certain amount of crops at a certain price so that you can provide nutritious food for your consumers. Right. But with these weather events, with these floods, it's becoming a problem. And if you don't work closely with your upstream value chain, long term you will lose. Because you will not have this stable supply, you will not have this close relationship where you know that you are ensuring good agricultural practices on the ground, which will mean for you long-term sustainable supply of your crops or any other raw materials. So as a couple of examples.
Considering the diverse markets IFFCO is operating in, how do cultural and regional differences influence the implementation of sustainable practices? Like you mentioned, different places, different weathers, different climate challenges. How does the company adapt its strategies accordingly?
That's a good question because we are expanding geographically quite rapidly. We are present in Europe, we are present in Middle East, in Africa, in Asia, and now in Latin America as well. And our products are distributed in more than 100 countries, and we have operations in more than 50 countries, and they are very different, of course. And the landscape is different. For instance, when we are in Europe, there are many more regulations coming into the landscape, and of course we have to run even faster so that we work together to meet expectations. Although we want to be as fast here as well, because it's mostly our internal motivation to be ahead of the curve in this area. So, and another example is, again, our Thrive brand. It's launched in Middle East. And if you look at the range, there's a number of SKUs. They are all about Arabic traditional cuisine. And we are also using faba bean, which is regionally a very authentic crop for this region. So we really want to adapt to the cultural context and to the needs of our consumer, which definitely differ in different parts of the world.
Right. So as the landscape of sustainability continues to evolve, what emerging trends or technologies do you see shaping the future of sustainability in the F&B industry? And if you can just mention some of the more key trends or alarming trends that you see arriving from the F&B industry, that would be great.
We want to take a holistic approach to sustainability. We really try to think long term. And the major, efforts that we think we should make, we want to be part of a systemic change. And we want really to drive innovation together with other stakeholders. In terms of the trends, everyone already knows that climate change is the biggest issue that needs immediate action. And coming back to your word alarming, what is alarming? It's not like growing gradually, it's exponential growth. Every year it's much worse than the previous year. We really need to take an immediate action here, and we are doing it at IFFCO. Circular economy is another one. Everyone knows hopefully it already or starting to know. I don't know if you are aware or not, but for example, if you look from the space, there is a place in Pacific Ocean where, the current swirls in such a way that there is a huge garbage island. It's huge. It's more than, some countries. You can see it from there, and it's absolutely enormous. It's even called Great Pacific, what is the name? Great Pacific Plastic. I don't remember the exact name. Sorry. So maybe we have to cut this. But yeah. So, emerging trend is biodiversity / regenerative agriculture. What happens if I simplify the agriculture part, that more and more it's becoming more and more monotonous, homogeneous. So less and less crops are being raised, and meaning there are less and less, diverse ecosystems. Meaning, some species that are dependent on what exactly is growing here and there, they can be endangered. And the big trend now in food sector is regenerative agriculture. And by the way, it's coming back to basics, what our ancestors were doing. For instance, crops rotation. This ensures that the soil is healthy, that the yields are there. There are both business interests as well, and that the ecosystems are in balance, Also, there are some measures like agroforestry, where you really mix in a certain way, raising crops with forests, and there are many other ways to do it. In general, business-wise, it ensures the health of soils, so that the soils are not degrading, because we are now not far from the moment when there is no enough land. Because the population is growing, incomes are growing, there's more and more demand for food, for certain type of food, but there is only one planet. We cannot all of a sudden, start doing the same on another one. Yeah. So this is very important to know, to observe, and to start tackling this. And we as IFFCO are doing it by the following. We have our own olive oil plantation in Tunisia. It's quite big. It's around 1 million trees. And we are now starting to test these measures that are positive not only to cap climate change, but also from the biodiversity angle. So we have now identified a long list of measures, and we are starting to test those in our own plantation. And then when we capture the learnings, we will think how to share this knowledge with our suppliers for other crops, and maybe to start the journey there. We definitely need to do it, and we are starting it by our own olive plantation.
That's amazing. I have one question about companies, for example. You guys do the reporting about all your sustainable practices, more transparent with your customers and your clients or your suppliers. What advice would you give to corporations who maybe fall into, they're not doing any reportings or they haven't started yet? What advice would you give them to avoid any greenwashing practices or maybe perception of greenwashing?
then I would give 2 pieces of advice. The first one, don't wait till you are pushed. Create internal pressure yourselves. Because any change in sustainability area, it takes years. So that, you plant the seeds today, the fruit will come not tomorrow. You have to wait. You have to, work on the soil. You have to water it. It will take time. When you feel the pressure, either from regulations or retailers or whoever, you will have very little time. You will be just lagging behind. So I urge to create this motivation internally, even though it may not be today in line with someone's agenda. But this is what we are doing in IFFCO, and we are very sure that this is the right thing to do. And coming back to this greenwashing risk, basically this is awareness. Very often people go into this area just because of not knowing things. You really need to invest into educating your core contributors to the agenda. For instance, what we did in IFFCO last year, we have identified more than 50 people who are critical roles in terms of sustainability, first of all, leadership and other people in different functions. And we have sent them to a very prominent course, which is called Cambridge Institute of Sustainability Leadership course. These are 8 weeks, 10 hours per week. Everyone was investing, and now we believe it's much easier, to explain these kind of things and to do the right thing, to do the robust change. And this is only one of the examples. We had also food sustainability trainings. We had also a training for our leadership with IMD on sustainability and many other things. So this is absolutely crucial, awareness and engagement.
Okay. This is just a final question or remarks. If you want to just leave any last words, or where do you see your hopes and aspirations for the future of sustainability for you and for IFFCO? Please be free.
Well, I think collaboration is key. You may imagine, especially when you work on real hotspots in food sector, in value chains, it's not a job that you can do in silos. Even if you are very committed, dedicated, you just don't have this capacity. It's very important to engage various parts of the value chain, to identify those who are more interested today and more committed, more dedicated, and then to work together. Sustainability is definitely something that no one can solve on their own. This is across. So my hope is that there's more close collaboration with the stakeholders that we have and with potential stakeholders, and there's more attention to this. I believe we are at a good pace as the region, and I hope this will be coming very soon.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Dina, for joining us on the Let's Chew podcast, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Very nice conversation. I really enjoyed it, and I hope it will be useful to the listeners.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Let's Chew podcast. And if you're interested in learning more about the future of food, sustainability, and agriculture, don't miss our Gulfood Green event, co-located with Gulfood Agrotech, happening in September from 24th to 26th at Dubai World Trade Center. So join us and explore the innovative solutions and cutting-edge technologies shaping the future of food sustainability and agriculture. So visit gulfoodgreen.com and register today. And until then, bye for now.